Hey everyone, Bill Lethman here for MoneyEvolution.com. In today's video blog, I want to talk about why retirees may need a tax plan. So as I've talked about on several other blogs, taxes may be one of your single largest expenses that you'll pay over your lifetime. And just because you're retired doesn't mean that taxes will go away. In fact, actually, taxes could, in fact, get a little bit more complicated as you go into retirement. So in this blog, I'm going to talk about 3 reasons why you still need a tax plan if you're a retiree. So reason number 1 is stealth taxes. So this is something I've, again, talked about in some of the other blogs. But stealth taxes are those taxes that may not even necessarily be taxes, but things that can still cost you money based on your income. So the perfect example of that is Medicare premiums. So you may know if you're collecting Medicare or if you're about to collect Medicare that your premiums that you pay into Medicare every year are based on your income from 2 years ago. So it's always a rolling 2-year time period. So if you go into the next tax bracket, according to the Medicare charts, you could pay as much as 40% or more in Medicare premiums. So unlike our regular tax system where it's progressive, and if you make another $100 into the next tax bracket, you're only paying that higher tax on that $100 by even creeping over by $1 into that next Medicare bracket, again, could cost those Medicare premiums to go up by as much as 40%. The second reason why you need to have a tax plan is your distributions from your retirement account. So if you're like most of my clients, you probably have put money into some type of retirement savings plan. Maybe it's an IRA account, maybe it's a 401k plan. And if you don't have a plan for how you're going to take distributions from that account, just remember the government has a plan for you. It's called the Required Minimum Distribution Rules. And if you don't know, at 70 and a half, you have to start taking some money from these retirement accounts. So again, you want to think about and maybe plan out some of those retirement plan distributions and know where you're at within some of these tax brackets and know if you're going to take a distribution from one of these accounts, is that going to put you into a higher tax bracket? Is that going to possibly push you up into the higher premium like we just talked about for Medicare purposes? So have some plan or some strategy for how you're going to take money from these retirement accounts. And then the third thing that you might want to think about as far as your tax plan is how you're going to maybe pass some of your wealth on to your kids or to your grandkids. So you may get to a point where you're realizing that maybe all of your money is not going to be spent during your lifetime and that some of this money may go and get passed on to your kids. So it's important to understand how different pockets of money that you may have and how different accounts may be treated when they get passed on to your kids or onto your grandchildren. So every account typically has its own set of rules. So how your kids inherit a Roth IRA account is going to be different from how they might inherit a traditional retirement account. And there's going to be different tax implications for them. If you have money that's in a non-retirement account, especially stocks, know that you may qualify for what's called a step up in cost basis. So be thinking about that, and especially as you're starting to spend down some of your money, be thinking about how that money may be transitioned onto your kids. So anyway, that's it for this video. One thing I did want to mention here, though, is on our resource page on our blog at MoneyEvolution.com, we have a free tax guide. It's the Money Evolution Guide to Understanding Your Taxes. So if you haven't already, head over there, download that guide, and we typically do, maybe a couple times a year, we do a presentation where I get into a lot more detail on some of these tax issues. So if you're in our system, you should get the invitations for those as they come up. But anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks, and I'll see everyone back here soon. Thanks.